What's up, everybody? Bass Curtis, Ohio's finest outdoors, and we are back at it. In this video you're about to see, we have the one and only Greg Norris Jr. chasing Ohio's giants. Over the years, we both agreed that wintertime bassing was one of our favorites and one of the best ways or easiest ways to catch a giant bass, and we both strictly use jigs. In this video, you're going to hear from Greg Norris about what he has recently been using to catch these giant bass. Let's go to the video. What's up, everybody? We're back at it. Bass Curtis, Ohio's finest outdoors, and I got one of the best in the state when it comes to chasing giant bass, and he's back again. Greg Norris Jr. chasing Ohio's giants. What's up, brother?
What's going on, man?
This is wintertime edition of chasing giant bass, and for this year, 2024, we've had a mild winter compared to years past. So, Mr. Greg Norris Jr., give him the business when it comes to chasing a giant in the wintertime here in the Buckeye State.
Well, first off, you're going to start with a jig, and then, if you're fortunate enough, you might want to get you one of them rattle traps.
Did you guys hear that? If you're fortunate enough, get you one of those rattle traps.
Never know, man. Some people like it slow, but I get a little bored sometimes, so I gotta throw my bait and wind it in.
So, I've always known you to fish the bottom, cold water periods. However, we were doing a 2-on-2 competition 3 years ago in the wintertime, and you pulled out the, I forget what color it was.
Red one.
Yeah, one of the red rattle traps. And I'm like, man, what in the world is he doing? And 7.5 pound giant on the rattle trap in the winter. And that's the first time I've witnessed it myself. So when did you start or discover that the rattle trap would catch those giants?
Good old YouTube, buddy. Got on there one day, just like today. It was snowing outside, 5 inches of snow. Clicked on a video that changed my life. That rattle trap's dangerous, man. It don't matter if it's 20 degrees or 100. If you reel it just right, you will get your rod bent.
I'm not gonna say I'm all the way old fashioned, but year after year, this time of the year, man, I gotta stay faithful to the black and blue jig or the Army Crawl jig from Blue Rock. And it's produced year. And so for me, it's hard to change when I continue to get those big strikes and those big strikes. But I've even seen people with me throwing a jerkbait wintertime bassing, but it's so hard for me to get away from that jig because I love having it on the bottom, deeper water, and I love that thump.
Yeah, really, man. It's all about your confidence and what the fish are on. Just like last week, you called me and said they was in 2 foot of water chasing what?
Chasing bluegill.
So
And
what you think that trap's going to look like coming down through there?
And the video will be coming out. And I did call Junior because this is the first time in my 30 years of chasing these big ones that in February, I catch a 6.5 pound bass. And then the week before, a 7.5 pound bass in 2 foot of water. And what happened was, just real quick, because it will be in the video, what happened was, I was walking around the pond and I see this big splash and clear up in the back of the pond. And I'm like, there's no way that's a bass this time of the year. Well, it was chasing bluegill. So, they're chasing bait fish. They're chasing rattle trap.
Fish eat fish, man. One thing I can say is when a shark's ready to eat, he don't care how cold it is, if it's raining, the wind's blowing or not. When he makes up his mind and you trick him, get ready.
So what would you tell the viewers out there? Because they always hear us talk about tube baits, pit boss, jigs, the rattle trap. What would you throw the rattle trap on? What type of rod? What type of reel? What pound
Oh,
test?
I'll throw it on a 7-foot bait caster, medium light. Sometimes, if I'm looking for a little more backbone, you could put it on a medium heavy. But it's just what you got, really, man. You don't want a real stiff tip fishing with a crankbait because you want it to load up. But whatever you got, man, it's all about how you can make the bait make it look like a fish. You stop it, twitch it. I use a crankbait the same way I would use a jig or anything else. Just slow it down. When it's colder, slow. That's the main thing with anything this time of year.
So he let the secret out of the bag. Not only does he throw a jig, or the what about the chigger crawl, man? For 10 years, a chigger crawl was you just don't want the audience, the viewers, to know about the chigger crawl, or did you go away from it a little bit?
Oh, but it depends on what they're biting, man. I like throwing it all. I'm not accustomed to throwing just one of anything. So if I got it and it looks good to me, it'll be out there. Just can't stick to one, man, because I like to
Experiment. That's what it is. Experiment. And while he's experimenting, Bass Curtis will be over there on the bottom. But I did recently find out that you could catch them big ones in February up in the shallow. And what happened was the sun's out and it was a 50-degree day. However, the water temperature was just 33, 34 degrees. In fact, 2 days before that, the ponds were iced over. But the sun comes out, and I promise you this to the viewers out there. The sun can change the water temperature 1 or 2 degrees, and that can turn a fish on, especially those big ones. And you'd be like, man, a 2-degree difference, you could go to from deeper water to shallow water, and that temperature is a little warmer. But the key that I find in the winter, I love finding ponds that have water, creeks, whatever, coming into the pond because the water temperature is always warmer and those bass go up in there looking for the forage fish.
Moving, they're usually close to it. They're definitely around. I got the bait fish, I got warmer water. Usually it's a little deeper sometimes. If you're looking for a structure and you don't have none, there ain't no trees or what to look forward to. If you can find moving water into a pond, you might want to stick around close.
And another trick of mine is that I find an area that I focus on and I look at the pond, I examine the pond, and I'm like, I need to be fishing there. And when I fish there, I give that spot an hour. And a lot of people don't have the patience for that. But I promise you, if something looks good to you and you just feel that there's a bass there, there's probably a bass there. And in wintertime, give a spot an hour. Change your angles of casting, move down the bank, cast at different angles, but make sure you put in some time on those spots. And most of the time, it has paid off for me. I've had people say, man, you done been there for 20 minutes, there ain't nothing there. Then another 20 minutes later, boom, giant. So if it feels good to you, give it some time.
It's another thing like we talk about, man. When we leave the house on days like today, we're not expecting to catch 20 fish, 10 fish. We're looking for what you see
around this room, the bass cave, baby.
If we get that one bite, we're satisfied, and that's all we're looking for. Because if you go out there thinking you're going to catch 20, you might as well stay at home. It's not going to happen. I mean, some days you will be surprised, just like you said, that little sunlight or whatever could change the water, and that light switch could go off. But 9 times out of 10, if you get 2 bites, you should be happy this time of year.
And another thing that fishermen, this is what fishermen have said in the past, bluebird skies, man, sun's high, you're not catching anything. That's a positive for wintertime fishing because just think it's warming up that water. So one of the big ones I caught, bluebird skies, sun was high, bright, and I had someone text and say, man, that fish bit. With those conditions, in the wintertime, you want the sun. Again, it's going to raise the water temperature. a couple degrees. As I always say, and Junior knows this, the last 2 weeks of February and the first 2 weeks of March are the best chance at catching that giant bass. Would you agree over the year's fishing?
Yeah, I mean, that's somewhat true. I mean, it's definitely easier that time of year because they don't fight. But if you can get them on that spawn bed when they're as fat as they can get, then you might get your chances of catching that double digit.
Yeah, but man. Once they get on that spawn bed and lock on, it can be done. It can be done.
Oh yeah.
But I know right now you're not going to catch a ton of fish. So when you, like you said, when you get that bite, in my head, I know. Like we're going out, we're leaving here in about 15 minutes, and we're going to a public rec area. And if one of us get that bite, it could be that 7, 8, 9 pound bass, and that's what we'll be looking for.
Yeah, I've caught a lot of them in my time. I'm still chasing that double digit, so I need my fish to more than likely be on the spawn bed to make me happy.
To make you happy, that fat, that belly that just looks like
everything
boom.
You dream of.
Yep. So I appreciate you guys checking out these videos, man. Like this video, subscribe to this video, check out Junior's page, Chasing Ohio's Giants. Like and subscribe to his stuff. Share both of them, man. We're out here on the grind, just trying to make it happen. Coming soon, we will be into the pre-spawn phase, and we will discuss that.
My favorite pre-spawn. Then you'll see that bigger pro.
You heard it.
A little too early right now.
Coming soon. Thank you, God.